Have you ever wondered how the death of one man could change the course of a nation's history? Quite a thought, isn't it? But in the heart of Southeast Asia, in the island nation of the Philippines, this very question became a stark reality. The year was 1983, and the man was Ninoy Aquino, a charismatic leader whose untimely demise sent shockwaves through the country. His assassination was not merely a loss of a beloved figure, it was a catalyst, a spark that ignited the collective consciousness of a people long oppressed. It was a turning point, a moment that marked the beginning of the end for a tyrannical regime. The echoes of that single gunshot reverberated across the archipelago, shaking the very foundations of a dictatorship and paving the way for a historic revolution. Today, we delve into the events surrounding the assassination of Ninoy Aquino, a tale of power, betrayal, and a nation's fight for democracy. Ninoy Aquino, a name that resonates with courage and defiance in the face of tyranny. This is not a tale of an ordinary man, but of a figure whose life has become entwined with the history of a nation. Ninoy Aquino, fondly known as Ninoy, was a force to be reckoned with in the tumultuous political landscape of the Philippines. Born into a politically inclined family, Ninoy was no stranger to the intricacies of governance and public service. His political career began at a young age, and he quickly rose through the ranks, making a name for himself as the youngest mayor, then governor, and eventually becoming the youngest senator in the country's history. But his meteoric rise was not without its challenges. As a staunch critic of the Marcos regime, Ninoy embodied defiance. He was a thorn in the side of the government, fearlessly voicing his opposition to the growing authoritarian rule. His outspoken nature, however, made him a target. In 1972, when martial law was declared, Aquino was among the first to be arrested and incarcerated. This, however, did not silence him. Instead, it only fueled his resolve. After 7 years of imprisonment, Ninoy was allowed to leave the country for medical treatment. His exile in the United States became a period of reflection and planning. Far from his homeland, he watched as the situation in the Philippines worsened under Marcos. His heart ached for his people, and he knew he could not stand by while his nation suffered. In 1983, Aquino decided to return to the Philippines, setting in motion a series of events that would shock the world. His decision was not made lightly, and he was well aware of the risks. But for Ninoy, the fight for freedom was worth it. For him, it was always about the people, about the country he so loved. And so, he boarded that fateful flight, unknowing that his courageous act would forever change the course of his nation's history. August 21st, 1983, a date forever etched in the annals of Philippine history. The day was dawning, an ordinary Sunday, yet with a tension that hung heavy in the air. From the heart of Taiwan, a man, a beacon of hope for many, was about to embark on a journey home. This was Ninoy Aquino, a man who had been living in self-imposed exile, yet yearned for his homeland. As the China Airlines Flight 811 began its descent towards Manila, the passengers were unaware of the unfolding drama. Among them, Aquino, known for his charismatic energy, was unusually quiet. He was returning to his homeland after 3 long years in the United States, fully aware of the risks that awaited him. Upon landing, the aircraft was immediately surrounded by military personnel. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation and anxiety. The waiting crowd could only watch as this beloved figure was escorted off the plane. His fate was now entirely in the hands of the Philippine government, an entity he had been tirelessly fighting against for years. As Aquino was led across the tarmac, there was an eerie stillness. Then out of nowhere, a gunshot pierced the silence. The echoes of the bullet reverberated through the air, chilling the hearts of those who heard it. Aquino, the man who had dared to dream of a free Philippines, fell lifeless to the ground. His journey had ended, but his legacy was just beginning. The assassination of Ninoy Aquino was more than just a tragic event. It was a turning point, a catalyst that would eventually lead to the downfall of a dictatorship and the rise of a revolution. In an instant, a gunshot echoed and Aquino fell, marking the end of a hero's journey. The assassination of Ninoy Aquino was a spark that ignited the people's rage. In the wake of this shocking event, a wave of public outrage swept across the nation. The people who had long been oppressed found a new strength in their collective grief and anger. The streets teemed with protesters, their voices unified in a call for justice. The assassination had exposed the rot within the regime, and the Filipino people were no longer willing to turn a blind eye. As the public demanded answers, investigations into the assassination were launched. The process was a turbulent one, fraught with controversy and accusations of cover-ups. Yet, despite the obstacles, the truth started to emerge piece by piece. The findings pointed to a conspiracy, suggesting that Aquino's death was not a random act of violence, but a calculated move to silence a powerful voice of opposition. The anger and disillusionment sparked by Aquino's death did not dissipate. Instead, it transformed into a powerful force of resistance. This force manifested itself in the form of the People's Power Revolution, a movement that was not led by politicians or military leaders, but by ordinary citizens. Men and women, young and old, from all walks of life, came together to stand against the oppressive regime. They demanded change, and they would not be silenced. The revolution was a testament to the strength of the Filipino spirit. It was a display of resilience and determination that shook the very foundations of the Marcos regime. The people's power, once awakened, proved to be an unstoppable force. It led to the downfall of the regime, marking an end to a period of tyranny and ushering in a new era of democracy. Aquino's death was not in vain. It became the catalyst that drove the Filipino people to reclaim their democracy. The story of Benigno Aquino is more than just a tale of a man's fight against tyranny. It's a narrative that echoes through time, shaping the Philippines' democracy as we know it. After the People's Power Revolution, the country witnessed a flurry of democratic reforms. These reforms were not merely political adjustments, but a reflection of the ideals that Aquino lived and died for: democracy, freedom, and human rights. Aquino's death was a catalyst, sparking a flame that ignited the hearts of millions of Filipinos. His life, his struggles, and his ultimate sacrifice became a beacon for a nation yearning for change. The People's Power Revolution was not just a testament to his influence, but a resounding affirmation of his ideals that no amount of tyranny could silence the voice of the people. His legacy transcends beyond the realms of politics. His story has been etched into the hearts of the people, inspiring Filipinos to stand for their rights, to voice their opinions, and to strive for a better future. The lessons of his life continue to be taught in schools. His speeches still resonate, and his courage still inspires. Aquino's life and death have been immortalized in the annals of history, not just as a tale of a hero, but as a reminder of the power of one man's conviction to stand against oppression. His legacy is a mirror that reflects the resilience, courage, and spirit of the Filipino people. His story has been a beacon of hope, a symbol of resistance, and a source of inspiration. It serves as a reminder to all of us that courage is not simply the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. It teaches us that one does not need to wield a sword to fight tyranny, but a heart filled with love for one's country and a mind armed with the ideals of freedom and democracy. In the grand tapestry of history, Benigno Aquino's thread shines brightly, his story interwoven with the fabric of the nation he loved so dearly. His legacy is not just in the pages of history books, but in the hearts and minds of the Filipino people. Benigno Aquino's story serves as a reminder that one man's courage can indeed change the course of history.